Yesterday was Super Bowl Sunday, and millions were bet on the outcome of the game. Most of those bets were placed with bookies. You'll meet one tonight at 7 on Monitor.
And now recapping tonight's top stories, the lengthy strike by visa workers at the Bank of Commerce may soon be over. The Labor Relations Board today imposed a settlement which the bank must accept. For their part, the union must also accept the terms of the contract, like it or not. Details of the agreement will not be released until next week. Accused murderer Guy Paul Morin today took the stand in his own defense. Morin, on trial for the murder of 9-year-old Christine Jessup, told a hush courtroom he did not kill the Queensville girl. Morin's mother also testified in her son's defense. She told the court her son was out grocery shopping at the time of Christine's disappearance. British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher today survived an emergency debate on her involvement in the Westland helicopter affair. MPs in the British House of Commons voted to support the government's handling of the affair, which has led to the resignation of 2 cabinet ministers. The Voyager spacecraft has now finished its flight past Uranus and is headed for Neptune. But the information Voyager was able to send back will have scientists working for years to come. Robert Bazell of NBC News reports.
This is Miranda, a moon of the planet Uranus. It has a diameter of only 310 miles. It is 1.8 billion miles from the Earth. The pictures from the Voyager spacecraft continue to reveal the most distant part of the universe we have ever seen so closely. Sounds from Voyager record the impact of dust particles in the rings of the planet. Uranus itself is covered with a thick gaseous atmosphere. The scientists now understand that it is churning violently. But as researchers present their findings, the most excitement is reserved for studies of the moons, which are not hidden from view.
No one could have anticipated, even in an approximate way, the exotic nature of what I'm going to show you this morning.
The moons farthest from Uranus, including Titania, have a more uniform appearance, still pocked with craters from asteroid impacts. But looking at the moons closer to the planet, the scientists see more evidence of intense geological upheavals, including these huge fault valleys on Ariel. And Miranda, the closest moon, is the most fascinating to the scientists.
If you can imagine taking all the bizarre geologic forms in the solar system, putting them on one object, you've got it in front of you.
Miranda has large variations in its topography, huge mountain-like outcroppings, deep valleys, and dozens of other features. The scientists are continuing to analyze hundreds of pictures, trying to develop a theory as to how that part of the solar system was formed. Robert Bazell, NBC News at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Pasadena, California.
Amazing pictures from over 1 billion miles away. You think they see our snowstorms?
Just a little piece of it there, Fraser. I think they won't know for about 2.5 hours. That's the amazing thing. That signal takes, I think it's 2.5 hours to get back here. Well, and it's going like that.
Like that. Will the storm go like that, or are we going to have this all
night? Oh, it's not really a big storm. We've got some flurry activity. There's a lot of flurries out there. We've got about 7 or 8 centimeters along the north shore of both Lakes Ontario and Erie, but we really don't expect any great accumulation. A lot of blowing and drifting. It's going to be kind of slick out there tonight on the road, so if you're going to be driving around, please drive carefully. These winds will subside probably after midnight tonight, but it's going to be very cold. We get down to about -22. This is going to be the coldest night we've had so far this season. Tomorrow it'll be just about as cold as it was today, but it'll warm up on Wednesday.
Okay, and briefly in sports, Bruce?
Well, the Bears didn't need 2.5 hours to get rid of the New England Patriots yesterday. As a matter of fact, somewhere in Delaware, a Patriots fan got a little frustrated. He went to the cable TV company and cut all the cables, and so all the Patriot fans were put out of their misery, trailing 30-3. So there you go.
And that's News Hour for Monday, January the 27th. For Bill Lawrence and Bruce Dovigan, I'm Fraser Kelly. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Columbus called it the most beautiful island in the world, the Dominican Republic. Discover it with CP Holidays. Airfare plus 7 nights at the all-inclusive El Mirador Resort for as low as $949. Or 7 nights including breakfast and dinner at Hotel Punta Goleta for as low as $799. CP Holidays, Dominican Republic. For details, call your travel agent.
Luxury has never been so affordable. DeBoer's Midwinter Indulgence, much more than a sale and event worth celebrating. DeBoer's Midwinter Indulgence, Treat yourself to some of the most exquisitely affordable furnishings ever. Polished travertine, sumptuous leathers, fine wood, and lacquer finishes. De Boer's Midwinter Indulgence, where you can find all those beautiful things you've been promising yourself. They're supremely affordable right now during De Boer's Midwinter Indulgence. So come on, indulge yourself at De Boer's. College Park, Scarborough Town Center, Willowdale, and Erin Mills.
In the next 30 seconds, we'll teach you all you need to know about fixing your own transmission. First, depend on the experience of having repaired over 1 million transmissions. Next, trust in the very best training to repair automatic, standard, and today's front-wheel drive transmissions. Finally, be assured by our warranty. It's good anywhere in North America. Now, wasn't that simple? Call the specialists, Mr. Transmission.
The Broadway magic of Annie, the world's favorite family musical, comes back to the O'Keefe Center, February 11th to 16th. The original Broadway musical, winner of 7 Tony Awards, with all the original hit tunes. Share the magic of Broadway family entertainment at its absolute best. See Annie for 1 week only, February 11th to 16th. Tickets at Bass, the O'Keefe Center box office, or call 872-2262.
We'll talk to David Mirvish about his plans for the Royal Alex Theatre, and our City Hall panel will debate Toronto politics tomorrow on CBLT Morning.
Hi, I'm Christina Pochmersky. Tonight on Monitor, Playing the Odds. A bookmaker takes his chances with the law. The New York Times calls it the day the nation stops. Super Sunday, the annual rite of January, the Super Bowl. Millions of Canadians watched this American institution yesterday, but before they did, thousands of them did something illegal. They placed a bet with their friendly neighborhood bookie. For most bookies, the Super Bowl is the biggest game of the year. This one day can finance several months in the sun. But for the police, the Super Bowl is a big day, too. Yesterday, police scooped up an alleged bookmaking ring in the Toronto area. Tonight, reporter Jonathan Craven introduces you to a man named Johnny. He's a bookie who plays the odds and takes his chances.
One of my philosophies, you got to like what you're doing in life or there's not much sense doing it. And I really like what I'm doing and I stay on top of it. And I think I can be a reasonable success to it. And, you know, I like it.
Hello, sir. Yeah. Chicago Bears are 2.5. Yeah. Yeah. The Jets, yeah. Okay.
Johnny is a reasonably successful bookie. He makes his living by taking bets. In places like Las Vegas, bookmaking is a legal profession. In Canada, Johnny's occupation puts him on the wrong side of the law. But gambling has been his whole life.
I quit school when I was 16. Immediately, as soon as I could, I quit school, and I went to work on the racetrack. I went to work on the racetrack. I was a groom and a hot walker, whatever, in the part of it. And I always was around the gambling. Like, I mean, I didn't basically know really anything else to do but gamble. The guy that him and I, we shared an apartment on Beverly and Queen at Stephanie. I started booking there, and just because it simplifies things. If you're always guessing, you're always in trouble. If you're a bettor, you're always guessing. But I'm just saying that now I'm booking, and I know that basically I'm on the right end of the game. I mean, this, you know, in the long run, you're going to get the money.
Johnny learned at an early age that the most profitable way to gamble is to use someone else's money. The rules for a bookie are pretty simple. You start with a sporting event and take bets on the outcome of the game. But people aren't betting on whether or not a team wins or loses. They're betting on the number of points that a team wins or loses by. That's called the point spread. And Johnny gets those vital statistics the way all bookies do, by calling a toll-free number for the official Las Vegas report.
Seattle 8 and 39.5 all circled. The Raiders 7 and 43.5.
For Johnny, the most important tool of his trade is the telephone.
Hello. Go ahead, Uncle Ben. $30. Okay. Favorite for $30. Okay. Bye-bye.
Johnny's friend has really bet $3,000, not $30. And the favorite today is Detroit, picked to win by 4 points.
Now it's up to the Jets defense. The Lions in command, 24-10. Final minute, third quarter.
What makes using a bookie so attractive to the gambler is that no hard cash changes hands before the game. In this business, you're only as good as your word.
To me, credibility is the most important word in my vocabulary. Credibility. If I'm no, my credibility is no good, then I'm no good, and I can't exist. I can't exist. I mean, people, talk about other people, and you get a rating on a guy, a rating on a person, a bookmaker maybe, or a customer maybe, whatever. Two sides of the fence, and to just say that, I mean, players are the people betting. Bookmakers are the people that are taking. So I mean, players, they have a rating, and bookmakers get rating. I mean, some bookmakers, I mean, they don't want to book to certain people because they know there's going to be problems.
So how would you rate yourself?
My credibility? Bo Derek's a 10. I'm 11.
She's better looking.
I hope so. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Roscoe.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
3 Dallas, 3 over.
You want the Cowboys and over $3 each. Bye-bye.
When the game starts, the betting stops. But there's always another game. And for Johnny, another phone call.
Who do you want me to go with?
You do what you want, son.
Why, you got Baxter anyone?
Do what you want, please. Yeah, what do you want?
Dallas.
The Cowboys for a deuce?
Yeah.
Bye. That's just nice guy. Always asks me who I like, and then he bets with me.
How do you make your money out of all this?
What you try to do is you try to balance out the books. So if you win 2 and lose 2, nothing bad happens. In fact, you win the juice, which is what a bookmaker tries to do. He puts himself in an ideal situation where he has equal money on each side. If that situation happens, then there is no gamble. You win the vig or the juice.
Well, what is the juice, a percentage?
Well, yes. In order for you to bet $100 on the Dallas Cowboys, you must put up 110. If you lose 110. If you win 100.
That $10 and 10% of any other losing bets is Johnny's profit. The gambler is as important to football as football is to the gambler. When the game's on TV, the bets triple. And when there's money riding on a game, the bettor usually sticks with it to the bitter end. That translates into solid ratings. The networks know it and openly encourage gambling as part of the game.
I like the Giant quarterback just a little bit more today.
And by 4 points, 20-16. Now, San Francisco.
You've been talking about points a lot more lately. I wish you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'll get you on this one. This is just the beginning. By halftime, you'll be going home with your nose on the ground. In order to watch a game and be really interested in, I think I just got to have a couple of dollars on it, and then I'm really cheering and rooting for a team like it is tonight.
Does it bother you at all that using a bookie is illegal?
Because it is illegal? No. If I make a bet with somebody that's sitting on the bar, my chances are that I will never see the person again, which is the case in most of the cases. And with a bookie, if you do use him and he gets to know you, you don't worry about that.
Do you use the same bookie all the time?
Yes, most of the time you will, because you don't always have the money to pay out at a certain time. And well, if you do use the same bookie, you'll get a little bit of a credit.
What happens if you never get your money?
Well, that's up to you.
What can happen?
What can happen? Well, you can hit the guy over the head with a baseball bat. But then you try to refrain from that.
You ever had to do that?
I've never done it. I'm not a violent person.
Have you ever had to have someone as an enforcer for you?
I had somebody go and talk to a couple of people, yeah.
Talk to them?
Talk to them, that's it. Just talk to them. When they talk to them, that gets the job. That gets the job.
What happens when a guy gets himself into a real hole?
I buy him a shovel. You don't want to put the guy in this position where he's not going to be able to pay you for a week, because it's no good to you then.
Have you ever turned a guy down and said, hey,
You can't bet that high, yeah, because you're a nickel player, you can bet a nickel.
And the guy wants to bet more, you'll say no?
No.
What if he says, hey, I'll go to someone else?
So listen, you go someplace else. I mean, before our relationship started, I told you you could play with me in nickel. So there's no discussion, there's no argument. You want steady action from a guy, and you don't want him to to put himself in a position where he's going to hurt himself. It's no, he's no good if he hurts himself.
You ever been in a position where you were hurting?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It's
what happened?
What happened to me? I have an expression, I have to go and find the shovel. The shovel is when I'm in trouble for money, I have to go and dig it up. So I have to find the shovel. So I have to go to my aces in the hole and sit them down and have a cup of tea in the morning with my kid sister or with somebody and tell her that I need X amount of dollars, that's all. And what has to be is has to be, that's all. I mean, I need it to ply my trade. I need it for my credibility, that's
You usually go to a member of your family?
I go to my sister, yeah. My sister.
She understands?
Absolutely, she understands.
No problem, eh?
No problem.
Doesn't she ever get upset like
Yes, she does. Quite often. In fact, every time I ask her. But there's no problem. She says, I can't do it, I won't do it, he can't do it to me again, and this is the last time, and then she phones me back an hour later, she says, I'll meet you someplace and give you the money.
Morality Bureau, Sergeant Jensen.
Leads on bookies often come from distraught members of a gambler's family.
Yes, would you know the bookmaker's name, sir?
From there, a file is started and the investigation begins.
Jack?
But every case is different. There's no profile of a bookie. They're just everyday people from all walks of life.
Hi, guys.
Hello, sir.
Here's that woman who was complaining about her old man, so if you want to go and do that, she gets off of work in about half an hour.
Yes, we talked to her earlier today. We'll drop up and see
Okay.
her. We'll look at it.
Bookmakers are a breed of their own. They don't look any different, but as I say, they are trusted by their fraternity. If they lose that trust, then they won't be in the bookmaking business very long.
Staff Sergeant Peter Benge of the Metropolitan Toronto Police heads the city's anti-gambling squad.
They are breaking the law, but they're not shady characters. I wouldn't call them shady characters. They must be honest to themselves.
It sort of sounds like you have a bit of respect for these fellows.
No, I don't. It's not respect. We're fighting a battle, and they're fighting their battle to survive, and this is like the way we like to keep it. It's one of those things. I know what they're capable of, and they know what we're capable of, and that's the way we go along.
For Sergeant Bud Jensen and Constable Ron Arnold, it can be a long day. When the bookies are out, they're out, and that means a daily game of cat and mouse.
Bookmakers tend to work around payphones and public places because they're quite conscious of wiretapping. They'll come to places like the donut shop here.
They meet in these donut shops because they can exchange the betting line for going to take place during the day and talk these donut shops because they can exchange the betting line for the day and talk about the various games that are going to take place during the day and talk to other bookmakers.
And then there are availabilities of phone booths such as this that they can come out and call their bettors from, take their betting action. Well, in a plaza, doing surveillance on a phone booth like this, we would try to blend our cars in with parked cars around, and we dress similar to the people in our environment, and just try to blend in with the background.
You can walk by a person, and many people walk by the people that are in phone booths, and if you're just one of them that blend in with a crowd, there's no notice taken of you, and at the same time you're gathering evidence.
This is the sort of evidence the police are looking for. These bits of paper are as close as the bookie comes to keeping records. They keep track of the customers, the point spreads, the game, and who owes who how much. They're also the right size to be eaten or flushed down the toilet if the police pay a visit.
We went to a man's home to discuss his bookmaking activities with him and to arrest him on bookmaking charges. He was in his house coat at the time, so he went in and got dressed, and as he was being taken to the police car, before he was put in the police car as a standard procedure, he was searched, and in the pants that he had just put on was this betting sheet outlining his bettors, his bottom line, and everything else, which was sort of cooperative of him.
When bookies get arrested, they try and find a lawyer who's sympathetic to their needs. They usually find David Newman.
For the most part, a bookmaker doesn't want you to defend him at his trial. A bookmaker wants you to strike the best deal for him, the fairest deal, so no one's antagonized, and so that he can go on living.
Does the penalty really fit the crime?
If it's a monetary penalty, then I think it definitely fits the crime. Most bookies are repeat offenders if they're around long enough. On a second offense, you must be sent to jail for a minimum of 14 days. On a third offense, you must be sent to jail for a minimum of 3 months. That may sound familiar to you because it's the precise wording that exists in the criminal code with respect to impaired driving and blowing over 80. The interesting part is that with respect to bookmaking, it really isn't enforced. That would lead me to believe, and I think correctly so, that society, the law enforcement officers, and the courts don't find that a bookie is nearly as dangerous as a drunk driver.
What is the relationship between the bookies and the police?
There is, I wouldn't call it a camaraderie, but there's almost a mutual respect. Police officers, to do their job properly, have to know what they're doing, and they become street people, just like the bookmakers. They really do.
They're aware that we're out there doing our job, and most bookmakers treat us as doing our job in trying to apprehend them, and there is never very much conflict between a bookmaker and the police at the time of arrest. It's generally a very, I wouldn't say friendly, but everybody respects everybody else.
They're there. They have to be there. They have to be there. But also the same as I have to be here, too. And as long as they're going to be there, I'm going to be here, too. And I just, you know, it goes with the territory, that's all. I mean, I don't feel that really that I'm doing anything really that great that they're going to ever have to worry about me. Really, I mean, they're never going to have to worry about, you know, any heavy things, because that's, you know, that's not me. You know, I try to get by with, you know, the least amount of problems in life and enjoy myself to a certain degree and not to hurt anybody, to get by. And,
what would happen now if the police came, knocked on the door and said, Johnny, your
your
number's up?
Well, I'd say, listen, let's go. Let's hurry up because I want to watch the 4 o'clock game.
Now you see them, now you don't. Public Optical, the leader in quality optical service for over 40 years, now reveals